Let's say China.
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 China. China. China. China.
There are next-door neighbors, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
You go over to China. China.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Trump's tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel. What's he doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host.
Yes. Hello, and welcome. I am James Andrews, and you are listening to So This Happened, the only news you need if you have been living under a rock for the past few weeks and have recently emerged and said, I wonder what's happening in the world. It is Monday, the 4th of December 2017, and I wanted to start off today with a fun story because we've been off for a little bit, and well, I just couldn't find one. I know, isn't that terrible? The first thing that jumped out at me was that this morning, President Trump has officially endorsed a child molester to become a senator. So, well, that's just great. And of course, I am talking about the embattled Roy Moore from Alabama. Thank you. I wondered when you were going to play the Alabama music, because you knew I was going to talk about Roy Moore, but you didn't play it. Well, we're playing it now. That's great. Thank you very much. Yeah, this morning, the president fully endorsed him. Now, before, he'd sort of said, you know, I support him, he's a good fella and whatnot, but today, the president gave his official endorsement. Roy Moore was over the moon, and he wrote, can't wait to help him, hashtag drain the swamp, hashtag Alsen, which is Alabama Senate. It took me, you probably got that right off the bat. For me, I was Alsen. I was like, what is that? Alsen? Because you got MAGA, which is Make America Great Again, which he did hashtag MAGA quite a lot as well, as did his wife. But I was like, hashtag Alsen, what is that? And I couldn't think of anything, but then it dawned on me. Alabama Senate. And it wasn't just Roy Moore who was excited, his wife Kayla was also excited. And I have to think for just a moment, she listens to these allegations of her husband, and you think she just sits back and goes, no, not my Roy, he wouldn't have done that. Oh, Roy, did you do that? Oh, Roy, he didn't do it. But anyway, she was excited too, and she wrote, Judge Moore just got off the phone with President Trump. We have his full support. Thank you, Mr. President. Let's MAGA. Which I like. It's sort of like a, let's MAGA, let's MAGA, let's MAGA. It's like a song, isn't it? It wouldn't do very well, I don't think, in the charts, but it could be a song. I think it's interesting that she refers to him as Judge Moore. And I sort of wonder, is that bedroom talk that just leaked out? You know, when they're, you know, in, what's the word? I know you don't even want to think about people their age doing that, but they're in the room. You call me Judge Moore, call me Judge Moore. Judge Moore, Judge Moore. Oh, I'm sorry. Images in your head now, which are going to be hard to get out. But anyway, there it is. The President of the United States has endorsed a man who has been accused of child molestation. So that is awesome news. And in news that is awesome to big business interests and absolutely nobody else, today Donald Trump dramatically scaled back 2 public outdoor parks or national monuments in Utah. The Bears Ears National Monument was a 1.3 acre site, 1.3 million acre site. Sorry, 1.3 acre would be a bit of shit, wouldn't it? It's sort of, oh, here's this national monument. It's 1.3 acres. It's fucking amazing. You can walk across it in about 30 seconds, but it's special. No, Bears Ears was 1.3 million acres. Well, today, Donald Trump cut it by, and wait for this, because this is actually quite staggering, 85%. Now, the other national monument he cut was the Grand Staircase National Monument, which was 1.9 million acres, so a little bit bigger. And that one got off easy because it was only cut by half. It's 50% cut. Now, these are policies which are very likely to provoke lawsuits from Native American tribes and other environmental groups. And this comes right on the back of Donald Trump just praising the Navajo code talkers from World War II last week, but then spoiling it completely by referring to a member of the Congress as Pocahontas. And speaking at the Capitol building in Salt Lake City today, Donald Trump said, I quote, "Some people think the natural resources of Utah should be controlled by a small handful of very distant bureaucrats located in Washington. And guess what? They're wrong." He then went on to say that former presidents had severely abused the law by declaring swaths of territory off limits to drilling, mining, grazing, road traffic, and other activities. The Native American tribes consider both of these national monuments to be sacred ground. So Donald Trump suggested there that, look, there's just a handful of bureaucrats in Washington who are going to control what's going on there. You know, they've got all this oil, etc., and they're in charge of it. No, the people of Utah should be in charge of it. Well, the problem is with that statement, as we know, a national monument is protected from all of that. That's the whole point of declaring something a national monument, so businesses can't come in and fuck it up. Well, now businesses can come in and fuck up, well, 85% of it anyway. Now, Native American tribes have said through a lawyer that they will be fighting this decision immediately, and absolute Godspeed with them, and we will also be fighting this one. So this is a big one. Write to your congressman, your senators, whoever you want to write to, really. But this is one of those policies which is really bad for everybody except the people that benefited massively from the tax plan from the other day. A pattern. I see a pattern. And this is one of those stories where there's so much going on right now with all the indictments in the Russian investigation and Korea and all these things that I think Donald Trump's hoping that this will just sort of get past everybody, and we can't let these things get past because this is a part of a very beautiful country which needs to stay very beautiful. These are spectacularly gorgeous monuments, and to open them up to big business is a tragedy, both for the people of America and also for the environment. So let's do something about this one, chaps. And in the greatest case of throwing yourself under the bus since, well, I actually can't think of a better example of throwing yourself under the bus. Donald Trump's lawyer, John Dowd, said that a tweet that went out from Donald Trump at the weekend was written by him, and he takes full responsibility for the errors that were contained inside. And I'm going to call absolute bullshit on this one right now. The tweet reads, "I had to fire General Flynn because he lied to the Vice President and the FBI. He has pled guilty to those lies. It is a shame because his actions during the transition were lawful. There was nothing to hide." Okay, so that's the tweet. Tell me that does not sound like that came from Donald Trump's fingers. Alright, if the lawyer wrote this, if this fella Dowd did in fact write that tweet, he has written every single tweet that the president has written. And if he really did write it, is he the one making all the decisions? Because it starts off, "I had to fire General Flynn." And then John Dowd comes out and says, "Well, actually, I wrote that tweet. That was me. That was me." So, okay, so if you wrote it, you're the one that fired General Flynn. It's just not right, is it? Now, of course, we know why he's wanting to take the blame for this, because if Donald Trump did in fact write the tweet, which he did, okay, I'm in absolutely no doubt that that came from Donald Trump's little fingers. But if he did write that, then he has just admitted that he knew that Michael Flynn committed a felony. You see, so that's where it gets tricky, because if you fired him because you knew that he lied to the FBI, then you knew that he committed a felony, but you didn't tell anyone about it. It was one of those tweets where Trump sent it out, didn't he, Saturday morning, and then his lawyer looked at it and goes, "Oh, fuck me, he's just admitted that he knew someone had committed a felony and didn't say anything. Oh, God, what am I going to do? I wrote it, I did it, it was me, I wrote it. I stole his iPhone and I sent it out. I was very naughty. I got put in the corner all day. I had to sit in the naughty corner in the Oval Office. again, another lie because there's no corner. It's an Oval Office. So I'm getting off track a little bit on that one, but that is just amazing. The man threw himself under the bus to protect Donald Trump. And now, this.
The Senate must pass those tax cuts. Bring Main Street roaring back, and that's what's going to happen. This is all done without the tax cuts. And I'm not sure that people even believe the tax cuts. I want to see what happens. And the big day will be either tomorrow or the next day. I would say do it now. We're ready. I said to the Republicans, and I want to tell you, these are good people. They really want to, and I know they get hit hard, the senators, the congressmen, but they're all working hard. It's not so easy. It's complicated stuff. It's not so easy. But we had an incredible session yesterday, and I think we're there. That's why I said, can we do the vote today? What do I know? I'm a business guy. Can we do the vote now? Well, they said, how about Friday? I said, I don't want to wait till Friday. Right, Billy? I said, Billy, can we do the vote? Get me to vote. Well, Billy's already passed it, so. And then what happens, if it passes, it goes into this beautiful committee, this beautiful, I call it a pot. And we mix it up, and we stir it up, and we bring all the best things out. And you're going to have something, I predict, that will be really, really special. So right now, really is. Really is. So right now, America's tax code is a total dysfunctional mess.
So there was Donald Trump talking about the tax plan that he was so excited about, which we all know now passed on Friday night in the early hours of the morning. A lot of people were very skeptical and said, look, nobody's read this. This has been pushed through so fast, literally no debate. Lobbyists are handwriting articles in the bill. It was way past the bedtime of pretty much every single senator in that room because, well, they're all quite old. They like the Bluebird special. 4 o'clock, that's dinner time. After that, it's downhill, isn't it? So when it gets to 2 in the morning, you know they're just going, oh God, I just want my bed. I just want my Ovaltine and my bed. But instead of getting their Ovaltine and their bed, they passed a tax plan, which is probably going to have massive ramifications going forward. Now, some of it is straight out of the traditional Republican playbook. Corporate taxes and taxes on the wealthy have been reduced significantly. But there were some aspects in the bill which have absolutely nothing to do with taxation, but they stuck it in there and passed it. A few of those things were the lifting of a 1954 ban on political activism by churches. Also, and this one's quite scary, the conferring of a new legal right for fetuses. This is all in the bill. What that says is it determines that life begins at conception, not birth. So you can sort of see where that one's going to do. Oh, and then they also threw in drilling in the Alaska wilderness, just for good measure. For no reason, yeah. Drill in the Alaska wilderness and raise your taxes. Fantastic. And also, because the Republicans couldn't get the healthcare bill passed on their own, they decided to throw that in here as well. So the sweeping changes that this plan makes to healthcare is expected to lead to 13 million Americans dropping health insurance. And of course, the big corporations are smiling on this plan because it's a massive win for them. Their tax rate will fall from 35% to 20%. And of course, the millionaires are also smiling about this plan. Under it, their tax rate will drop from 39.6% to 38.5%. And a few other things that you can kiss goodbye with this plan is the ability to deduct losses from fire, storms, shipwrecks, or other casualties, or from theft. You can also kiss goodbye to the deduction for tax preparation expenses. The Republicans are arguing that this plan is so simple, you won't need to get an accountant to do your taxes anymore. So therefore, if you choose to use an extravagant accountant, you will no longer be able to deduct that expense from your taxes. And also, if you ride your bicycle to work, right now you can use that as a deduction. This plan is going to eliminate that, so you may as well just go buy a car. And also, if you're thinking about moving houses, Bear in mind that under this plan, you will no longer be able to deduct your moving expenses from your taxes. However, in good news, if you are set to inherit $11 million, is you will no longer be taxed on that. Previously, you could leave $5.5 million in property to your heirs or children. Above that was taxed at 40%. This plan raises that to $11 million before it starts to get taxed. So good news for the Trump boys. And also, Donald Trump's assertion of last week that this tax plan is going to cost me a fortune, believe me, turns out also to be false. In fact, if anything, this tax plan will greatly benefit Donald Trump and people of his I was going to say people of his kind, but I'm not sure there is anybody else quite like Donald Trump. But people in his financial standing will benefit significantly from this tax plan. So the idea that he comes out saying, hey, look, this is great for you, this is terrible for me. I'm going to lose so much money on this plan, believe me, it's going to be terrible. I'm going to fuck myself. Completely and utterly untrue. He'll benefit quite a lot from this. Anyway, we are out of time for the day. It was a good conversation as always, and I want to apologise once again for sort of being a bit spotty on the putting out of the shows the last few weeks. Coming up to Christmas, it always gets a bit hectic, and Mrs. Andrews and I are moving house, so that's adding a little bit extra stress to this, and there's things to do, so we're going to be a little bit sporadic over the next few weeks. I'll try to put them out as much as I possibly can. Anyway, we can continue this conversation on Twitter at So This Happened, or on Facebook if you're older. And don't forget to subscribe and like the podcast and write a nice little review for us on iTunes. That would be spectacular. Anyway, we'll chat again hopefully tomorrow. We'll see what happens, but if not, we will chat again very soon. So anyway, take care, have a good night. Bye bye.